distant from the creator of the universe can be very tough, especially since human beings, all of us, were created to be in a relationship with him. So that's why in this video, I'm going to share 3 easy and effective tips on how you can get closer to God in as little time as possible. The first tip is to read the right parts of the Bible when you're starting out, because when you're starting out, some parts in the Old Testament and maybe in the New Testament as well, like Revelation, some parts can be confusing and some parts can be dry, especially if you're starting out and you don't understand the meaning and the applicability. Like in some Old Testament books, there's like some parts where it's like can go way over the heads of some people who aren't spiritually mature. And if you're someone that's new, like feel free to skip over that. Like it's okay to skip over that and know that it's important, but also know like you're not mature enough to understand. That's okay. Like God understands that. So some places that are really good to start out is the Psalms. The Psalms are very, very emotional, and if you want to feel an emotional connection to God, the Psalms are like one of the most emotional parts of the Bible. So if you want to feel an emotional connection to God, then read one of the most emotional parts of the Bible, which is the Psalms. So starting out in the Psalms is a really good idea. Another part is Ephesians in the New Testament. Like I said, the New Testament can be easier to understand than the Old Testament. So like I remember when I started out in my Christian journey, like I started reading the Bible like by myself because I went to a Lutheran school, so I'm not Lutheran. I'm a Christian. Like I'm not with that, that specific area. But I went to a Lutheran school, and like I was in religion class, so I really thought like that was good. But like then I started reading by myself, and then I felt like really strong joy, like in my heart, like inside my heart, like I felt strong joy from it. Some parts of the New Testament, like First Peter, Psalms, and Ephesians, are all very encouraging books for you. So that's where I would start out if you're reading and if you want to feel an emotional connection to God. Also, know that the reason why sometimes we don't feel close to God is because He wants us to chase after Him. So the reason why He's not maybe allowing us to experience joy and constant and emotional connection to Him is because He wants us to chase after that and chase after Him, not chase after the emotional connection, but to chase after Him and then have that be a byproduct of us chasing after Him. Because we don't want to be chasing emotions left and right, because emotions can be deceiving sometimes. So you don't want to do that, but you want to like, if you feel out of place, like that can be a good feeling. But like you don't want to make that like your number one thing. Like you would be good with God and still feel off. So don't base like your emotion and don't base your relationship with God on your emotions either. In James 4:8, it says this. It says, draw near to God and He will draw near to you. So sometimes all you got to do is just put in like a little bit of effort, and then God is going to draw near to you because you're trying to draw near to Him. So keep that in mind as you're trying to draw near to Him. Like just put in a little bit of effort, and then God is going to meet you and He's going to draw near to you. And like if that tip helped you out. Tip 2 is to listen to worship music. So worship can be extremely emotional. Like I cry sometimes when I worship if there's like a certain song or if it's like super applicable. Like I will cry a lot when I worship, and it's super emotional. Like whenever I'm at church, most of the time, the most emotion that I have is sometimes when I worship, and sometimes the sermons, like they're super informative and super helpful, and I love them. It's just like emotion is like worship and music is different. And in the Psalms talk about praising God a lot. Like it says like praise Him with the harp, praise Him with the lyre, praise Him with like these different instruments, and in these different ways, talking about this, talking about that. And so like it's also one of the most emotional books in the Bible. So there's a correlation between that, like the emotional part of the Bible, like one of the most emotional parts of the Bible, and most one of the most one of the parts of the Bible that talks about praising God the most. Like there's a correlation there. So between emotions and praising God, like there's a correlation between doing both of those things and music, because that book talks about praising God with music, praising God with words, praising God with clapping, dancing, and like your arms and your body. So it's like turn on some worship music if you want to feel a connection to God, and maybe it'll happen. So there's correlation there. Also, if you're young or maybe you're old head as well and you like Christian rap music or rap music, there are Christian rappers out there. My favorite is 1K Fever, and I'm gonna link his page, his YouTube channel. All his music is on there, and I'm also going to link a song called Saved Me. It's a very, very deep song about like how God saved him from a lot of stuff in the description of this video. And also Wande is a female Christian rapper. I really like her music as well. So if you're a female or a girl, then this might appeal to you more because she's just really cool and I like her music a lot. So I will link her channel in the description as well. Tip 3 is to surround yourself with others that chase after God. And that includes cutting off some friends that are not. It's well known that you are an average of the people that you spend your time with. So if you're spending time with people that are sinning and you know that they're going down the wrong path and you don't want to go down that path, then like you got to cut them off. Like you got like stop hanging out with them, stop texting them. If they asking to hang out, you gotta be like, no, like I don't want to do what you're doing, and you gotta be firm on that. Like if you want to get closer to God, you gotta be okay with separating yourself with things that are not from Him. It's just that simple. Like you just gotta stop doing that stuff if you want to get closer to Him. Like cut people off if you don't want to go where they're going, and some people in your life may be going to hell, and so may need to cut them off. In grace. Another thing that can be very powerful for you to get closer to God and feel closer to God is by deleting secular music from your playlist. This is going to be a huge one. Like I said before, music is very powerful. One of the biggest reasons why the author of all the Psalms, like it changed authors, mainly David, why they felt closer to God was because they were praising Him. They were making music to Him. So that's why they were so emotionally tight with God and they expressed their emotions to Him, is because like there's no accident that like that book is with music. So if you're listening to music that is polluting your mind with like certain elements, there's a lot of music in this world that's very sinful. Like just like to be real, like hip hop music, a lot of secular hip hop is very sinful. Like it talks about murder, talks about like having sex with other women, talks about like prostitution, Loki, like in Drake's song with Lil Baby. I forgot what it was, but he said like I'm a hitter, then send her the baby. So like that's borderline prostitution. Like I mean I'm not saying like he's actually prostituting girls, but it's like that's misogyny. Like he's viewing a woman as an object of sex. And if you listen to that constantly and you're putting that into your mind, that's changing how you view people, and that's changing how you view yourself, and ultimately that's changing how you view God. So don't listen to that music. Don't listen to music that is sinful. Like delete that music from your playlist. Like if you're trying to read the Bible, you're trying to get closer to God, but you're listening to that, like that's not gonna work out. Like you gotta erase that stuff out of your playlist, erase evil music from your playlist, get that out of your mind, because that's not gonna help you get closer to God. That's gonna take you away from God. Ask God to give you wisdom on some music, and just ask Him to give you wisdom because music affects you in way more ways than you know. And there's probably some songs that you don't know are sinful, and they that can be or might lead you down the wrong path. Like we have deceitful hearts. Like there's Bible verse that says the heart is deceitful above all things. So we just like we twist things, we mess things up. We think that something is good, but it's actually bad, or we might think it's okay, but it's actually bad. So just pray to God to give you wisdom, and if you want to get closer to God, you gotta be willing to do what it takes, and sometimes you gotta be willing to give up secular music to get closer to God, and whatever that could be. I'm not saying like all music that isn't worship music is bad. I'm saying like I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying like be wise and ask God to give you wisdom. The soundtrack of your playlist is the soundtrack of your life. So just keep that in mind when you're thinking about what music to listen to. If you like hip hop music, good news, you don't have to completely get rid of hip hop music. You can enjoy godly music that is dope and that is at a high level creatively, and it has like really good beats and really good lyrics and really good music. And the two artists that I mentioned before, 1K Few and One, they both do that at a very high level. So you can check their music out in the description below and replace your mind with their music instead of other music that is taking you away from God if you like hip hop. Also, subscribe and turn on the notifications if you want to, surround yourself with godly people. Surround yourself with me because I'm pursuing God. I make videos on helping you pursue God. So, like, literally just, like, subscribe and then binge watch my videos if you want to consume yourself with content. And if you want to get closer to God, then you got to consume yourself with people that are going to pour into you and that you can look up to. And you can look up to me and you can follow me as I follow Christ. Like Paul says, like, it's not about me. It's not about you looking at me. It's It's about me pointing you to Christ through what I do and what I say, and just him working through me and him working through my talent. So that's what it's about. My channel card is going to be right here, and you can click on that and you can see all my videos. You can go binge watch them, and I'll see you guys in another video. Peace.